yet another great story in the National Post. And you had a relevant quote put into that story. So tell us about that.
Yeah, that's right. So I believe actually it's on the front page of the National Post today as we're recording. This was a story written by Bryan Passifiume. He's written many articles on the firearms file. So he came to me for a quote. And here's the gist of the story. This was based on an order paper question by Senator Don Plett, who's been, a real ally to the legal firearms community. And he wanted to know some things from the Public Safety Department based around the confiscation program for the May 2020 firearms ban. Mostly wanting to know how much has been spent on the confiscation program so far and how many people or resources have been allocated to fighting legal gun owners. So I'll give you the numbers here because they're kind of shocking. So far, they've spent $42 million on the confiscation program that doesn't actually exist. They've got 40 full-time staff in public safety. So that's people working 90% or more of their time on firearm confiscations. 15 full-time RCMP officers, 2 full-time Service Canada employees, and 6 full-time employees in public service and procurement. So that's a total of 83 people right now in Ottawa, full-time, working to figure out how to confiscate your guns, which is pretty interesting. Of course, they've also spent $2.3 million on IBM. Now, for a minute, forget about collecting guns from legal gun owners because that's, I've said all along that's virtually impossible, extremely difficult, and they're not anxious to participate in this. But they've also spent over $700,000 on the CSAAA to facilitate a compensation program for retailers. So these are people who are willing and eager to participate. They want to offload some of that unsellable inventory that they're paying insurance and storage costs on. So they are in full support. They've got the, assistance of the industry lobby, and they can't get that done either. So it's just kind of an interesting story. And I put a quote in there saying, Trudeau said these are firearms that are just far too dangerous to be owned by Canadians. Yet here we are 4 years later, all of those guns are exactly where they were before that for decades, if not generations, in the safes of legal Canadian gun owners. So yeah, just a wild indication of their incompetence and overspending.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, $43 million, that's approaching some Arrive scam level money.
Yeah. Yeah, not a single gun picked up, right? I mean, not that I'm cheering for them to get on with it, but I mean, it's incredible the flamboyance at which they spend taxpayer dollars on pet projects, right?
Yeah, on consultants and yeah. Anyway,
yeah,
it's pretty bad. Certainly, I would highlight what you said about the dealers. The dealers would, there's a lot of dealers out there that are like, at least pay me for this inventory that I've had to carry for 4 years. That has actually cost some of these people their businesses. They've gone out of business. And you've got the CSAAA assisting them to deal with dealers, and they haven't bought any, I don't know. It's just, what a mess.
It's crazy.
It's consistent with everything else that these people do. It's the most incompetent, misguided buffoonery we've ever seen, but whatever. I'm not upset that they haven't started kicking doors in or threatening people with letters or criminal charges for taking their guns. I'm thankful for that, certainly. I'm thankful for their incompetence, I think is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, I would have preferred to see that $42 million being spent on maybe, anti-smuggling operations or whatnot. But hey, to hell with public safety. Let's just worry about pacifying, a very small minority of anti-gun lobbyists. So yeah. Whatever.
Remember, if you don't stand up for your own ability to own and use firearms, who will? Join the CCFR or donate right now at www.firearmrights.ca.